Good morning, everyone. I'm Jillian, part of the go-to-market team here at causaLens, and I'm the host for today. A warm welcome to those joining us here in the heart of innovation, San Francisco, and to the thousands tuning in via live stream from over 35 countries around the world. We're thrilled to have you with us. Today, we'll explore how the world's leading organizations use AI agents and automation to revolutionize data science. From forecasting to fraud prevention, marketing to manufacturing, we'll cover it all. Throughout the day, if you have questions for our speakers, head to Slido, SLIDO.com, and enter event ID 2595941. We'll be taking audience questions at the end of most sessions. Now, to officially kick off the AI for Data Science Conference, please welcome Dr. Darko Matovski, founder and CEO of causaLens. Darko will share how AI agents are revolutionizing data science function, from automating workflows to truly enabling autonomous decision-making.
Thank you, Jillian. Be careful. Be careful. Welcome, everybody. So great to see you here. Today we'll be talking a little bit about the future of data science. But we will also be announcing some very exciting partnerships, and we'll be also, you'll have the privilege and opportunity to hear from some of our customers how they're using data science agents to transform their businesses. So today I want to tell you more about how the future of data science is going to look like. Before we start, I want you to imagine a world in which data science was free. Today, though, it's a very complex system, a manufacturing line in which your data has to travel through until it gets to value. And each part of this manufacturing line, you have different skill sets, different tools, and a lot of need to put those tools together, right? So data science today is extremely expensive. And we have not enough data scientists. And the very few we have spend most of their time on cleaning data. According to Gartner, about 80% of their time is spent on manipulating and cleaning data set. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, data cleaning, and then value maybe on Friday, before the weekend. And so if you take the average pay of a senior data scientist in the US, it's around 200 to 300K. So that means about 200K a year goes to just moving data around, trying to prepare it for data analysis. So this is that manufacturing line that we all know. This is how it looks like today. We have raw data. We need to build some pipelines to clean the data. We need to do some modeling. We need to build some experimentation pipeline, and finally some visualization pipelines. So this is very slow and very, very costly. To make matters worse, for each part of this workflow, we have a different tool. So we have a tool to do data cleaning. We have a tool to move data from one place to another. We have machine learning platforms to build models. We have applications and systems to build visualizations like Tableau. And because this is so complex, we also need to have a lot of humans involved. We need humans to drive every tool. There's a learning curve, there's training, there's empowerment. This takes a while until you learn a new tool. And then there's a need to make all these things work in tandem. You know, when you're building the manufacturing line and you have different products, you need to figure out how to connect them. That's where, you know, system integrators, consultants can come in and help. But you have this really big ecosystem just to go from raw data to something valuable. So you have the worst part here is that you have tools, specialized tools, special skill sets, a lot of ramp-up time, and then a lot of integration cost to put them all together. And the worst part is when you need to do something new, when you need to change something. Say your marketing team wanted to analyze a new customer segment that you didn't have things set up for. Your pipeline today, your manufacturing line can kind of break pretty easily, and you may need to kind of rebuild it all together for a slightly different use case. The other alternative is to say, hey, let's just outsource everything. Let's give it all to a system integrator or a consultancy. But that's not a solution either because it's going to cost a lot. I was speaking to a CIO that spends $4 million for data cleaning just for one use case, and the quality of the work and the timeliness of it and the stress that it incurs that exerts on their team, cannot be measured with value. So really, rather than improving the manufacturing line, we're just shipping this complex manufacturing line somewhere else. And so data science is very slow, very expensive, and after all these investments, 87% of organizations still report to be at a low maturity in terms of analytics, according to Gartner. So while people have been building these very complex manufacturing lines to go from raw data to better insights, something has been happening in the background, a bit of a revolution that is changing all of this. It's possible now, for the first time, to replace all these different tools in the value chain from data to insight with a digital worker. So let's just take a moment to just to appreciate how transformative this is, right? So previously had a tool for each part of the value chain, a specialized knowledge work, so data engineer, data scientist, UX engineer, and then you had to have all these consultant systems and integrators to help you run this really complex process, right? Now, with a digital worker that can do this whole thing, you completely change that, right? So you no longer need all these different tools, all these different talents to run them, and all these different people to put them all together. So that's, as an analogy, this is what we are now able to do in data science. We're able to take, initially what was like a craftsmanship type of effort that then got automated into kind of a manufacturing line, to now, with data science agents, it's more like a 3D printer. You can just say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Can you manufacture for me the right set of pipelines, the right set of models, everything for me just in time? And so I want to show you guys how this looks like in practice. So here I have an example of a root cause in manufacturing process that, so just so you can appreciate the power of this, before agents, what you would have had to do is you would have had to go to the process engineers, figure out what data they use, find a data engineer to put that data together. Then you would have had to find a machine learning engineer to create pipelines, then a data scientist to build a model, then someone that knows how to use Power BI or Tableau to create insights. All of that, from experience, takes like 5 to 10 really qualified, highly paid people and a bunch of weeks to get. Now, with agentic systems, we can do that as simple as you'll see in this video. So we can just say, hey, what are the root causes of failure in this manufacturing process? The agents are able to figure out, in this case, a causal model of the manufacturing process, basically build a digital twin, you're able to then say, hey, this is, what would you recommend for me to do in order to make this manufacturing process have less faults? Here's some domain knowledge. The temperature cannot exceed 40 degrees. And so, as you're seeing this, it looks quite magical. There's a lot of science being done there by the agents in the background. They're doing data cleaning, they're building models, they're creating causal diagrams, everything together, right? And so this is how data science could look like. We can go from many, many months and many, many people to giving this in the hands of the process engineers in the manufacturing process in days. The most profound thing that agents enable us is to decouple the team size with the amount of insights they can deliver, right? So before, if you wanted to solve more use cases, you basically needed more people, or you needed to do more outsourcing or hire more consultancies. All the systems we had so far were sold on seat licenses because they all needed a kind of human to run them. What agents do is they give superpowers to humans in the organization. They give superpowers to the data engineers. They give superpowers to the data scientists. They give superpowers to the app builders, the UX people, to everybody. And so by enabling them to have access to a bunch of agents, we're decoupling for the first time how much existing teams can deliver and their team size. So this is kind of like the truly transformative effect. So let's go back to our analogy of a manufacturing process of data to get from data to insights and talk a little bit about the complexities of it. Because it's so complex, we've ended up in a world where system integrators and consultancies are the only ones that can kind of help us run this like super complex process. And and because it's so complex, consultancies initially started with kind of strategic advice, but ended up actually running the entire process for us, just because it got so complex. But actually, it doesn't need to be like that. You can kind of completely eliminate the whole factory, and instead of having your humans spend Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of running this complex machinery, they can now have a digital coworker that can do it all without needing all these tools and without needing all this time to keep the manufacturing line from going. I want to show you guys a real world example here of how this looks like. So this is a very complex data set, as you'll see. It's a financial data set with loads of different formats of files. So we have PDFs, we have some crazy format I've never seen before, and it's like super messy data. So we estimated that a very competent data scientist or data engineer would need 3 to 4 weeks of full-time work to structure this data set and to prepare it for machine learning. So that's kind of how the data set looks like. And so now let's see what an agentic system could do for us. So all we need to say is, hey, here is a folder where this super complex data set lives. So we just select the folder. We give the agent instructions. So I want to extract sentiment scores from this data set, and I want to figure out, how to predict the sentiment score. What this will do now, the agent will create a nice plan. You can negotiate with the agent if you don't like the plan. And once you're happy with the plan, you can modify the plan too. But once you're happy with the plan, you can run this, and this will now create all the assets and give you a perfect, beautiful data set. This whole process was actually fully autonomous. It took 27 minutes, and it replaced 3 to 4 weeks of human work, just right there. And this is not fun work. Like, no human likes doing this work. So that's kind of the really big power here. We can enable now enterprises we'll empower them with something, that gives them leverage and makes their job better. So rather than cleaning data Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe they do some on Monday, but the rest of the week they spend doing cool modeling and other cool stuff. So just to summarize, with agents for data science, for the first time, we're able to put aside all these different tools we use, all these different ways in which we're trying, all of these tools require a lot of human labor, so we have a lot of consultancies and system integrators in the mix, and it takes us a very long time to get to value. So we have opportunity for the first time this year in 2025. It's only become possible now to make these agents do all that work for us. The best part is that we can, for the first time, democratize data science in the enterprise, right? We can enable all the teams, from sales to marketing to HR, to have access to agents and get insights directly for the first time. Of course, the human data scientists are going to be the ones creating the agents and making sure that they're trustworthy. But once they do that, we can empower business to self-serve themselves. And so this goes, in the first part of the talk, we talked a lot about the cost and the complexity, but this is the most exciting part of the most important implication is that now everybody can have their own data science team at their fingertips. So this is just a really quick demo of how you could enable anyone to maybe visualize some data and understand it without having to go to a specialized data engineer. So in this case, we're saying, hey, I have this really cool data set. I want to figure out what's going on in it. Can you do that for me? And so these agents will launch it's a multi-agent system. It launches its specialized agents. I just realized I've been standing in front of the screen all the time. So I apologize for that. I should have been somewhere here, but hopefully you're able to see most of it. So you can see there, while I was just moving from one part to another, the agents created a beautiful UX, a beautiful application that helped us understand this whole data set. So here's another example. Imagine you are going to a board meeting, and the CEO says, hey, I just noticed our revenues are down by 5%. Can you tell me why? What caused this to happen? Typically, if you're not prepared, you would say, okay, sure, I'll go back, I'll do a lot of data analysis, and I'll come back to you. It's probably going to take like a couple of weeks to get the answer to this. Now imagine a different world in which, while the board meeting is ongoing, you can say, let me take care of that. Let me launch an agent. Here's all my data, macroeconomic data, everything that I have. And I'm going to ask my agent to figure that out for me. So explain to me, why did our revenue drop? Here's all my data. And so here, we're giving instructions. We're going back to the board meeting. And in this case, I think it was 20, 30 minutes of autonomous work by the agent. We'll be able to get the answer, right? So what you're seeing here is a fully autonomous agent that was able to answer this question of why did the revenues go down by 5% by taking all the data available in the enterprise, including macroeconomic data. And we get a nice executive summary. We get all the code written for us, all the assets generated. We can inspect and make sure it's trustworthy. But most importantly, we get a nice executive summary that tells us that the 5% drop was because the inflation index rose this month. So that was kind of the key insight there. But we were able to go ahead with our board meeting. The agent did all the work for us. We got a nice report and a lot of data science assets just to make sure it's done the right thing. So that was really going from 2 to 3 weeks of human time to 20 to 30 minutes of agent time. And so all that looked kind of like bit of a futuristic scenario, but I want to reassure you that this is here, today, and now. And what you just experienced in that demo was a multi-agentic system that did some reasoning first, understood what the user wanted to do. It then created a detailed plan. It then ran multiple experiments in parallel, and you could have actually seen all the chain of thought that it went through. It then took all the experiments, judged them for quality, combined them, and was able to produce that executive report. So a lot of really cool science happened there in the 27-30 minutes that this agent was doing work. So what do agents mean for us, right? Well, they mean 95% reduction in time to insight. That's what we saw in that demo there. Rather than the CEO waiting 3 weeks to understand why the revenue dropped, they can get the answer straight away. We talked about this really complex manufacturing line to go from data to an insight, but we can reduce that cost dramatically by 80% using agents. And because we've empowered our humans with digital workers, well, now they can do 5 times more than what they were able to do before. And so these agentic systems are so powerful that they're going to transform how we do data science, and they're going to potentially put pressure on the entire ecosystem. So the ecosystem of all these different tools that are required, and then the people that are kind of operating all of these tools that may come from outside our organization. So we started off with a question of like what happens when data science is free and available to everybody. I want to end with an even more important question of what value will your organization create when data science is free and accessible to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darko. An incredibly exciting. Oh, questions?
Yeah, if you guys have.
We do have some questions.
Great.
Fantastic. First question is, it says, great to see the innovations that causaLens is bringing to data science. Well, thank you. How do you see the data science team of the future looking?
That's an awesome question, yeah. So data science teams are not going anywhere, right? Or data engineering teams, like we need as many as human data scientists as we can get our hands on, right? So the role, though, will evolve. So instead of a highly qualified, highly paid data scientist spending their time changing the color of a dashboard from red to pink, or wrangling, fighting with data all day long, we can create a more inspiring role for data scientists. So the data scientists of the future, instead of doing this boring stuff that they must do today in order to get to the fun stuff, we envisage a world in which they are primarily creating and managing an army of digital workers. So their role changes from an individual contributor to chief of staff for the digital workers. And that, I think, it's a far more exciting role than the one we have today. So that's kind of the vision that I have for the future.
Amazing, thank you. Second question, are there any parts of the data science workflow that agents can't help with?
I think that's a question of time. I think, I guess eventually we'll have some form of super intelligence, but I would say it's a function of time. The good news is that the 80% of the laborious grunt work that we have to do today can be done with agents. So I would start there. So let's liberate the humans to do the fun, exciting, innovative stuff. And currently, they can't do that because they're, fighting all these tools, all this data. So if we can just do that, that's just going to make, Monday to Thursday more fun. And I think that's the starting point.
Amazing. Darky, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.